Howdy gang, this is the Roaming Prepper. When you're traveling in a strange location, especially if you're renting a vehicle, there are a lot of things you need to think of before you just hop in a rental car or a borrowed vehicle and off you go. Both for your safety and for preparedness, because they go hand in hand when you're on the road. I'll be right back and we'll discuss some things about that kind of travel. To do our research before we travel. As I mentioned in another video on how to prepare before your trip, once you're making your trip, take into account the factors that may affect you. We were going from an urban to a mountain environment in the same trip. Pick a vehicle that makes sense for the voyage. In this case, I was able to use some points and got a Denali. I like to take pictures around the vehicle to confirm the condition I got it in when I return it. I also like to look around it and measure it for its ability to get through dangerous situations such as a flood, some kind of freeze, or even a riot. I take pictures of the gauges, confirm the fuel, check the condition of the back. Speaking of the back seat, always check the back seat when you get into a vehicle, especially when it's parked in a strange place. Also, make sure you look around the area of the vehicle and make sure it doesn't have any leaks or damage. Your vehicle is going to be your horse while you're out in the country, so make sure it's in good shape. While we're at it, make sure your vehicle is always full. Especially when you're traveling in strange places, you want to be sure you have maximum gas in case you get lost. Get familiar with your surroundings. You go to a new area and you park in a parking lot, take a look around you before you get out. That corner could be a great place for someone to pop out, so be aware of what you're doing. Parking garages can very quickly become troublesome if you don't know the area. Make sure you get familiar with it. When you're driving into a new destination, you typically will wind up in a parking garage. When you get in, take your time and turn on your headlights even if it's the daytime and their lights on. You want to be able to get maximum visibility. Before you park, I would recommend driving around a little bit in the garage, locate your entrances, your exits, the stairwell, and the elevator. Be careful of pedestrians, but also keep an eye out for panhandlers, drunks, and other types. If you find a good spot, make sure it's within visual distance of your exit or entrance. I always recommend backing in. As a safety policy, your first move is forward, but also it prevents you from having to back up if there's an emergency. You can just pull straight forward. Take your time when backing in, and if you can, look up and see what's going on around you. Just because it was clear 10 seconds ago does not mean someone didn't just walk up on you now. Me personally, I like to back in, stop the vehicle, but before I turn it off, I'll take a look around. I'll unbuckle myself and look around to make sure nothing has changed that I don't like, at which point I'll start to exit the vehicle. Typically what I'll do, once I've looked around, is I'll open the door and I'll even stand up on the side rail if I need to. I'll look behind me, look in front of me, just have a situational awareness. During the holidays, a lot of people get mugged and robbed right in the middle of the parking garage. You would think it's safe, but it's not. I also recommend, as a courtesy to other people, make sure you're not blocking anyone's doors. Your vehicle's in good shape, lock it and go. From that point on, make your way to the elevators and go to your room. When you travel as much as I did, you start learning certain things. You go to a strange parking lot, take a little tour before you park your vehicle. Just don't go to the first spot. Also, try to park your vehicle as close as I can to the elevators. It reduces my distance. I also backed up against a wall. That prevents anyone from coming up behind me. Do a quick walk around to my vehicle, make sure I'm not blocking anyone else. And if you noticed, I back in. The reason I back in is, one, for safety, my first move is forward. But two, as I'm getting in the vehicle, if someone's gonna run at me, I'm gonna be looking forward when they do it. I'm not gonna be getting into a vehicle with someone running up behind me. We've all seen those videos. So guys, take those few moments to look around you. Make sure when you're leaving your vehicle, you notice, I get into the middle and I start walking up the middle of the drive. I don't get too close to the cars on either side. Because ultimately, well, you may run into some drunks, but they're just having a good time. But you may want to be sure that if anyone does come out from another vehicle, you see them coming because you're smack in the middle. Just don't block traffic. It should go without saying, lock your vehicle and take your personal belongings so you don't lose a wallet on vacation. Most of all, remember, there are a lot of distractions in places, whether it's Vegas like you see here, or New York City, or even in the country. Take your time, do some homework in advance, get the right vehicle, and take basic precautions. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope it'll make your next trip better prepared and safer. Until next time, Godspeed, be safe, pay attention, and help someone if you can. See you next time.